NFL quarterbacks just simply cannot play well against the New York Jets this season. It's been the case all year long, and there really is no end in sight. It just feels like this is every single week. Whatever Robert Saleh and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich are doing is clearly working. Coming into week 13, the Jets had given up the third least amount of passing yards in the league. In 13 games, the Jets have only given up 14 passing touchdowns and have 12 interceptions. This passing defense has been elite, but this has been a nightmare season for the Jets with the Aaron Rodgers injury and just quarterback drama. The Jets are still 5-8, and the defense is a big reason why. It's felt like every single time the Jets have faced a good quarterback, they have crushed their soul. Whether it's CJ Stroud or Patrick Mahomes, quarterbacks just have not been able to play well against the Jets. CJ Stroud has been playing lights out this season. Everybody knows it. He's been incredible as a rookie and has the Texans in playoff contention. That didn't really matter much against the Jets defense. He completed just 43.5% of his passes and had just 91 yards and a 54.8 passer rating. All are season lows. Houston got beat pretty good 30-6, and that is just how the Jets have been able to win games this season. The defense is relentless, and even the best quarterbacks in the league have really struggled. Now, let's go back to week 1. Aaron Rodgers starts and immediately tore his Achilles. It looked like the Jets were cooked, but they ended up winning that game, and mainly because they just rattled Josh Allen. He ended up throwing a single passing touchdown with 3 interceptions. It was an off day. The Jets ultimately walked it off in overtime. It was an incredible game to start the year, but Josh Allen just didn't play well, and he isn't the only quarterback to throw 3 picks against the Jets this season. So did Jalen Hurts. Hurts looked awful against the Jets. He only had 1 passing touchdown and tossed up 3 interceptions in what was their first loss of the season. Both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions, and then there's been 2 quarterbacks to throw 2 interceptions in a game versus the Jets. The first was Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football with the whole country watching. Zach Wilson somehow managed to outplay Mahomes, who had 2 interceptions and just 1 passing touchdown. Now, still, the Chiefs did win the game, but this was a fun one, and it was a really, really good defensive performance from the Jets. Also, Tua Tagovailoa threw 2 picks and a touchdown against the Jets. The Dolphins still ended up just crushing the Jets, but again, a good quarterback struggled. When you look at the quarterbacks that have had multiple interception games against this Jets team, it is 4 very, very good NFL quarterbacks. Those are 4 guys that are clearly in the top 10 of the league. You could even argue around that top 5 for all of those guys. Then Justin Herbert didn't throw an interception against the Jets, but he just couldn't do anything. He completed 53.3% of his passes for just 136 yards without a touchdown. Now, of course, the Jets were still blown out because they only scored 6 points. The offense is obviously the real issue in New York. I think everybody knows that. But if they could even put up an average amount of points, this team would probably have a winning record. Now, obviously, when you've played good against good quarterbacks, you've probably played well versus bad ones. Mac Jones went 15 of 29, and Desmond Ridder went 12 of 17, but he did at least score a touchdown. No surprise, but Tyrod Taylor struggled, and then Tommy DeVito did too after Tyrod got hurt in that game. And Aiden O'Connell, shockingly, wasn't awful. He actually had 153 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was able to get a little bit going at least. Now, like with everything, there are obviously going to be outliers. Josh Allen, for example, played a lot better in his second start versus the Jets. He had 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. He's actually the only quarterback this season to throw for more than 2 touchdowns against the Jets. 2 quarterbacks have passed for 2 touchdowns, and both of them are truly the outliers when it comes to this Jets defense against good quarterbacks. quarterbacks, which makes sense because these two guys have been some of the top quarterbacks in the league this season. Russell Wilson played really well against the Jets. He had 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't throw an interception. Now, the Jets still even managed to win that game a lot in thanks to Greg Zuerlein and their very good defense. Russell Wilson has been playing at a very high level, and he was just able to carve up the Jets defense, but not enough to get the win. Now, one guy that did get the win was Dak Prescott, and this is the best quarterback performance of the season against the Jets, 100%. He had an 81.6 completion percentage, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It wasn't anything truly insane, but it was a good game and a very big win for the Cowboys. Now, those are definitely anomalies, but more often than not, quarterbacks have played bad against the Jets. When you look at the Jets defense, the big name on it is obviously Sauce Gardner. He's still living up to the hype after he was touted as this elite corner coming out of Cincinnati. He ended up winning Defensive Rookie of the Year last season, and this guy is still clamps. He is the best player on this defense. He's just fantastic. Across from him is DJ Reed, who is still very, very good. He's been one of the more underrated corners, and I think he's really starting to get his flowers, especially this season. Now, when you go past Gardner and Reed, the Jets have actually gotten some really good safety play from Jordan Whitehead. He stepped in and had a huge impact on this defense. The Jets thought they had it all figured out, though. They signed Chuck Clark in the offseason to be their guy deep, but unfortunately, he ended up tearing his ACL in OTA, so they had to refigure something out at safety, and Jordan Whitehead has really gotten it done. After he went down with a torn ACL, Jordan Whitehead has really just filled that void, and well. CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams are both there at the linebacker spot. Mosley's a vet, and Quincy has just turned into a good player, but obviously still not quite as good as his little brother. Quinnen Williams is making a lot of money to dominate the trenches. Now, the sacks aren't coming like they were last season, but he is still good. Then Quentin Jefferson has really just turned out to be a good signing and already has 6 sacks from the interior of the line. Jermaine Johnson has 6.5 off the edge. I liked him a ton coming out of Florida State. He was a 2022 first rounder. We've seen a lot of Bryce Huff recently too. He has 6 sacks on the year. I think he's going to just keep getting better. There are some great playmakers on this defense. It's a big reason why they've been so successful. And of course, it also helps being a dominant defense when you have a defensive-minded head coach and good defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich have just done a great job. But unfortunately, it still hasn't been enough to overcome a bad offense. The Aaron Rodgers Achilles tear just completely ruined whatever the Jets season could have been. The worst case scenario was having to go back to Zach Wilson, and that's exactly what's happened. The idea that Aaron Rodgers could come back still seems a little crazy. It may be possible, but let's be real, he probably shouldn't. The Jets are 5-8, and making the playoffs is an uphill battle. There is no point in risking his health coming back way too early from a major injury. It is a shame what has happened to the Jets this season, really. I mean, it still has been fun to watch, though. The defense has just been great. And if that group can play well next year with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, then the Jets could be really good. Thanks for watching the video. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media at JDProdNFL. You can follow me personally on social media at DIIDLAKE and just keep up to date with us with everything NFL and all of our content. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.